Hey, it's Friday the 9th of October 2020. Yesterday was an awful day for me. Day before was my brother-in-law's funeral, and that was okay. And the reason was I was around people. The meds were playing up a little bit. I took them late, and it wasn't good. And in the pub afterwards, the noise was disorientating, and I should have had my hearing aid in for that. Yeah, it's not very good. I'm on pills and hearing aids and all sorts. Sign of the times, ladies and gentlemen. But I slept well, but I got up in the morning and I just felt bleh. Everything went. Well, this week's been a bit tougher. I just didn't want to do anything I couldn't be bothered with, meditation. And I just knew I was just going to sit around and do fuck all. And I did. I was just really... During the night, I remember I'd had some dreams about the ex. Nothing awful. She was just involved in them, So I suppose there was that attachment had come back. No, I was just really down yesterday. I really was. And when you get like that, there's not a lot you can do just to cheer yourself up, because you don't want to. I don't know if it's because we wallow in our own misery. I knew I'd be all right because time is the great healer, and I have this thing, everything works itself out, but sometimes it takes too long. I can't really remember what I did yesterday. I fucked around with my Fire Stick. I changed Cody on it, changed Cody on the PC. I kept doing it wrong. Well, I didn't do it wrong, I just forget to save it all the time. Well, eventually I did. I got it all sorted out exactly how I wanted. Some little gadgets turned up so I could just have the Ethernet straight into the Fire Stick. Made a massive difference because the Wi-Fi hadn't been any good. No, I didn't. Apart from that, I didn't really get stuck into anything. And what I did do was positive things, put plans into action. I got a friend who sees a therapist. £60 a pop though, I can't afford that. So rather than worry about it, because you get yourself into that whole cycle of, you just go round and round. I haven't got any money to pay for that. If I had the money to pay for that, it would make me better. And I'd get back and I'd be earning money, and then I could pay for it. But I can't pay for it, so I'm just going to be worse. So I can't do that. I will not let myself do that. I had some bits and pieces to drop off at the ex's, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to go close there just to stir it up, because I've been doing a good job. And then I suddenly realised that I'd let her back into my thoughts, and that is deadly. You just do not do that. A week, 2 weeks ago, I was strong. I was really strong. And you slip. It's that whole thing about higher mind, lower mind, the ego, the subconscious. It's sneaky. It got into me, and it let me do what it thinks I want to do. It's all for the good, but it didn't want me to meditate. So that sort of went by the by, and I just started thinking about her. Not an awful lot. So today was the day, and I just got angry. I got fucking angry, and I was driving along, and I was shouting at myself. I was screaming and shouting, which is possibly the same release as if I'd cried, because I stopped myself from crying, and I should cry, but it's just one of those inbuilt things. You build it up, and I didn't cry at the funeral. Yeah, it's very upsetting seeing family and other people cry, but I didn't. I got choked up a little bit about it, but I held it back, I was sort of there a little bit now. But I had this shouting, and I shouted at myself, and I told myself the truth. I told myself the truth, that woman that woman didn't deserve you, Steve. She really didn't. You made the same mistakes with her as you made 20 odd years ago with the girl you're engaged to be married with, you got a house with. She got rid of you. What for? You weren't a bad person at all. And this time I was an even better person. I really was. And I looked at it in perspective. I took everything in perspective. And some of the things which happened in the relationship, what she did was not just like mean and nasty to start with, but we were just like, they were awful. The day before, we were supposed to be moving in together. It was all set up. Great. I'd given notice on the flat in Botley. And that, you know, I should have followed my heart, because deep down, I loved that place and I really did not want to leave there. But then the desire to be with her all the time was also great. And I just thought, well, that's materialistic, Steve. We can go there, we can build a life together. So I did it, and I gave my notice in. The day before I moved in with her, notice given on the flat, she said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I couldn't move in with her. I could not. So I had to go back to that flat. Everything was packed, unpack it and stay there. I had to tell the landlords, I had to beg them, ask them, and oh, well, no, you can stay here to the end of the month, or whenever it was, till Christmas, or till January. So they did that. And then in January, we got a notice from the letting agents that, oh, why isn't he out yet? And I said, well, January. You didn't say January the 1st or January the 31st. So we pleaded the case and they let me stay till March. Subsequently, one evening she then sat down and said to me, Steve, I really love you. I do. I love you so much. And I want you to move in. I do want you to move in. And I said, well, look, are you sure this time? Are you really sure? Yes, I am. So it was supposed to have been, I can't remember when it was. Well, I had until the end of March. So I think that's when we'd said that we would do it. And again, a couple of days before, oh, I can't go through with it. Both of those times, I just took it. And she actually asked me, I bet you're angry with me. But I didn't let myself be angry. I didn't want to. And there's that whole thing, that whole forgiveness of someone because you have this grand view of them. You've put them on a pedestal. I didn't think the sunshine out of her ass, but I just thought she was a good person. I thought I was in love with her. And that's what you do when you get on with it. So I blindly missed the fact that twice now, she had fucked me over. I had lost that wonderful, wonderful flat in Botley. And I loved the flat. I loved the building. I loved living there. I really did. And I'd lost that. So I hastily found a place, looked around. I didn't have long, and I got this one in Alverstoke here. I'm just down at the beach at the moment. I can't walk here, but I've driven down and I'm looking at it, and it's lovely. It's very peaceful. It's lovely. And then the lockdown came, and it was a case of, well, why come and stay with me during the lockdown, because otherwise, technically, we can't see each other. We're not supposed to see each other. Yeah, fine, okay. And then after, 3-4 weeks, something like that, I was speaking to my daughter, and I just, she was a bit down. I said, well, why don't you come and stay in my flat for a little while, for a weekend? No one's there. I'm not using it. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely then. When I told it to her, to my partner, my girlfriend at the time, oh, no, where are you going to be? I said, well, I'm here, aren't I? No, you've got to go back there. Well, why? I said for lockdown. Well, it is still the lockdown. Yeah, but originally it was going to be 3 weeks. And that was hard because I then had to tell my daughter that I couldn't do it. And that was just terrible. And did she have a conscience about it? She never apologised. She never really apologised enough, really. Yeah, and there was that. And a couple of times she just turned up on the doorstep. I don't think this is working out, Steve. So why is that? Just sit down and talk with the moment. So I just needed a bit of talk. And that was her problem. She could not talk. She could not talk about it to get it out there. She'd store it all up until it just exploded on you. you know, I know people are like that, but you know, just at least apologise afterwards. So all that taken into account, and when she did actually finish, I was at a really, really low ebb. I really was. And just for that to happen was, wow, you know, on top of everything else, losing my job, losing my mum, losing my flat, the business just floundering because it didn't get a chance to start. I went on this medication to supposedly help my ADD, and it really was fucking me up, making me terrible. And even that, so all those things taken into consideration. One weekend she said, "Oh, you was a real miserable git." I was just in bits with these pills. I just couldn't handle it. You know, I just said to her, "Well, it wasn't nasty and horrible, but you were a miserable git." Well, you know, thanks a lot. And there she is. She's a trained counsellor and worked for a clinical psychiatrist. Yeah, there's the love. There's the caring. And when it all went over, I convinced myself I loved her. I absolutely loved her, and we could work it out, and I wanted to be there with her. And that feeling is still there, but I've got to tell myself and look at the reality of it. If I told that person, why were you with her? Why did you stay with her? She's not evil, but she's just like messing you around, Steve. You do not need that. There are a lot better women out there who would treat you right. She said that I needed someone who was going to make me the centre of their world. I don't need that. I just want people who can talk and can share and work things through. And if they got a concern about your behaviour, they sit down and they speak to you about it nicely. You know, I tried to talk to her about hers, and all of a sudden, "Oh no, you were shouting at me in front of all the neighbours." I didn't. I brought it up with her. We were in the back garden, sat down, the neighbours were indoors, and that's what it was like, just catastrophising everything. Yet despite that, I loved her, and I will never hate her, because there is so much that is good, but not good for me. You can't have all the good bits and not have the bad bits. And you can't ignore that. You've got to look at that and recognise that is a bad thing. That is bad. That is not good for you. You can't have a life like that. You know, the day before I was supposed to move in, my flat was given up. She said, "No, you can't do it." You know, the reasonable person would have said, "Well, what you should have done is sat down, gone through it all, and said, look, we can do this. We can make it work. We really can." You know, she was worried about the rent, and I just said, "Look, I can give you 3 months in advance. It's half of what I'm paying at the moment, so I can give you 3 months in advance and then carry on. You know, I will pay you 3 months in advance and still pay you monthly. So I'll always be 3 months in credit. How about that?" No, so you look back now, and it was never right. It was never right. And I have to, as like a lot of people do, you come to terms with that. Your heart, or what part of your brain is crying out because you missed and something's been ripped away from you. What's been ripped away from you is your hopes and your dreams that you have modelled around that person. You have attached all your hopes and your feelings. They're all associated with that person. You should not do that. It doesn't mean, I mean, this time I didn't put her on a pedestal, but that whole forgiving thing, I probably would have been better have been angry and just let her know exactly who it was. Maybe being, you know, it would have been perceived as being a bit more manly. I don't know. But, you know, I used to, I mean, that first relationship, yeah, I had a temper. We'd scream and shout and up and down. Oh, you know, it would, I suppose I was bad for that. But then again, she used to pull my strings. She was like the puppet master. She would have me raging just as she knew what to do. This time, well, because of that period back there, I realised I had a problem. You cannot go around being like that. So I learned over a period of time to be calm, to control my anger. It comes out every now and again, but just very, very slightly. But I just wonder if it makes me just seem a little bit weak, because women and people see this big guy and they want him to be strong, but you know, physically I'm strong, and mentally I'm no stronger than anybody else. In some things I am, and yeah, I am sensitive. I am very sensitive. I don't know how to cry. Well, I do know how to cry, but it's not very often I do, and it's been welling up in me. So yeah, driving around today shouting and screaming at myself was a real feel good thing. I got it out. It was almost as good as crying, just telling myself off. And I did. I really did you know, respond to that. Yeah, and earlier on today, later on, just now, it was creeping back into me, and I just started shouting, "You cannot do this, you cannot." I was getting tough, and that's how I get tough with myself. So I've got to do that, and I'll carry on doing it. I spoke to a guy this morning, he suffers with it, and he would give me, it was just nice talking to someone who knows what it's like. Now that guy suffers badly. He's had depression a long time. You know, I don't think I'm depressed. I just think that I'm not happy. And that's the difference. I am depressed because I'm not happy, and that means I'm depressed. So yeah, it's so I've stopped taking the meds. I just see what that, I didn't think it was doing any good. I'm going to go back in tonight. I cooked a beautiful seafood risotto, absolutely fantastic. Today was much better for some reason. I slept. I was up really early, 6, but I got up, did all the bits and pieces that I needed to do. I've been active. Yeah, I went shopping to do the bits and pieces. I had to get fuel. I went online and I sorted some shit out, just admin stuff, and I felt really good about doing that. I cooked up this beautiful dinner, but I did the washing up as I went. The kitchen's immaculate again. The lounge, and the place is never untidy. Tonight I've got to clear off the stuff on the spare bed because the winter quilt's on there, so I need to take that off. You know, just it's not cold in the bedroom, but I haven't switched the heating on yet. It's that double economy 7, you know, storage heater, so a bit wary of those, just the expense of it. Anyway, that's today. I have had a massive improvement, and that's what I'm going to carry on doing. I don't want to start shouting in the flat, so I'm going to come out in the car. I love the drive, and it releases a lot, and I will shout and I'll scream. Maybe the tears will come out, who knows? I will let you know. But for now, I'm just going to sit here for a little while, and just, I can see the sea. It's fantastic, it's beautiful, and it's calming. There's guys out there with their bivouacs, just beach casting, fishing. Some over there, and there's a little cabin cruiser, not a cruiser really, but a little fishing boat there with a cabin on. I don't know what they're called. They're called boats. I know that. But yeah, so I can see the power station and the refinery over there. The Isle of Wight's right in front of me. Beautiful. So feeling good. Definitely feeling better. The strength. I will be strong. Peace out.